So the argument, I don't remember the scientist that said this, it's basically if you look along the band of the equator, those are at this time, and this is an older publication, I believe, those were the least developed societies in the world. As you get further away from the equator, up into the not the Arctic, but like up into Scandinavia and so on and so forth, you get more and more advanced civilizations. Because when there's a hard winter coming or it's just harder to survive, even though there's abundant resources, you need to adapt and overcome and develop in order to prepare for that winter, in order to prepare for a famine time period versus when it's all just available to you at any time.
The reason why that doesn't make any sense is Egypt.
Sure. Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense because that's the absolutely most sophisticated culture pre what we understand of history.
Yeah, true. But not on the equator. It is quite far from the equator.
It is far from the equator, but it's also like very lush.
Very.
Like the Nile Valley, they think, 9,000 plus years ago was like extremely lush, which is one of the reasons why they were able to reach this high level of sophistication because they had access to resources.
Which aligns with the idea that the Amazon had the same things.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, by the way. I think that if you have an abundance of food and resources, you have a better ability to create.
Yeah, that's what that makes more sense to me, but I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think both things could exist.
I agree.
Like you could have it too easy, or you could have it to the point where there's plenty of food to hunt and gather, and you see no need to move out of the hunter-gatherer stage.
Sure.
But then you could also see like super sophisticated societies that lived in that area, like they think the Amazon was.
Right. Right.
That they would innovate.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it makes
also,
sense.
you have a large population. Even if it's a small percentage of people innovating, it's gonna impact the great number of people.
If you have enough people, there's going to be people that are creating, right?
Yeah.
There's no way there aren't.
Yeah, and then people came through there with their coughed on everybody and fucking killed them off.
And that's that.
This is really wild, man. It's really wild if that is true. That how horrific that is, that they just basically reset everybody back to the Stone Age.
And if you think about, has that happened before and will it happen again?
Yeah.
I remember distinctly thinking, well, at first, I think might have told you this story. When COVID hit, I was in Indonesia and I was like, this is stupid. It's like bird flu. It'll all be over in 10 days. And boy, was I wrong.
Yeah.
But I remember shortly after that distinctly thinking like this might be the beginning of the collapse, right? Like this could be where human population collapses. Like this is the plague that the planet has been waiting for. This is this generation of smallpox, but it obviously science and medicine overcame that at too fast of a rate, and it really wasn't that lethal. But
well, it wasn't. It was the fact that it wasn't lethal.
Right.
Even if science and medicine didn't do anything, it wasn't going to kill everybody off.
True. But I remember thinking, because there was a lot of hysteria around it. I remember thinking maybe this is it. But I guess my point being, do you think that that's going to happen again?
It certainly could.
Yeah.
I mean, it has before. It probably will again. I mean, I was scared of it too. In March of 2020, I thought, oh my God, it's going down.
Right.
When they were shutting the country down.
Totally.
Like, Jesus Christ, we're living in a movie.
Everything, right? You couldn't go into a hospital. You couldn't, visit a grocery. Like, everything. It felt like the whole world was collapsing.
The problem is there was an irresponsible level of fear that was promoted by the media because the media has an interest in getting you to pay attention to what they're saying. And that irresponsible level of fear. The problem with that is, even if they know what they're doing, they know that it's propaganda, people get sucked in.
Right.
And then they get scared forever. And if you don't ever give them good data and you're always exaggerating the threat and exaggerating the death number and Dr. Lena Wen, who was the biggest proponent of, shut everything down, shame the unvaccinated, cast them out of society, all that. Now she's saying that she had a recent article where she said they overestimated the amount of people that actually died from COVID. And I think she said the real number is about 30% of what they're claiming.
Oh, you're kidding. Oh, wow.
Because when you die of COVID, if you also have cancer, if you're dying of something else, but you test positive for COVID, they call it a COVID death.
They call it a COVID death.
Yes.
I remember reading that.
Even accidents and even people that because there was a financial incentive.
Yeah.
Which is part of the problem. Dr. Lena Wen slammed after admitted there's been an overcounting of COVID deaths 2.5 years late. Wen claimed the actual COVID-19 death could be only 30% of what's currently reported. There's also been, I mean, I don't know how the system exactly works, but there's been doctors that explained what incentive there is to put someone on a ventilator, what incentive there is to prescribe remdesivir.
Because it's all financial decisions, right? Yeah.
Because of the emergency use authorization, because of the pandemic, there's all these. And when you have money involved, things get fucking squirrely.
Always.
They get real weird. And
Always.
And then I didn't realize, like, I'm so ignorant. I didn't know that most hospitals, or a large number of hospitals, are privately owned. They're businesses.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah. You're like, wait a minute.
I thought, like,
where's this money
hospitals,
coming from?
Something that, like, the government funds so that we all take care of each other.
Not here. Not in this country.
No.
Yeah.
And then you have the fact that pharmaceutical companies are responsible for 75% of the ads on television.
Really?
Yes.
75%?
75% of the ads on television. We're one of 2 countries on earth that allows pharmaceutical companies to advertise.
I had no idea.
The other one is New Zealand, and they're far more restrictive than we are.
And
so you have like so much financial
incentive.
and then we lost people in terms of like losing their mind and their anxiety that never came back.
Yeah.
Like I just saw an article today about how I think it's time to mask up at award shows again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see if you can find that. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's a cold.
Right.
It's basically gotten down to a cold
To the
now.
point, it's become so benign to human beings.
If you're that vulnerable, you shouldn't be going to the award show.
In the first place.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're not healthy, like...
Right.
And also,
right. Just make smart choices, right? Protect yourself. Stay back. Like,
and there's still, after all these years, still no like encouraging people to take vitamin D, no encouraging people to lose weight, no encouraging people to take care of their overall metabolic health so that they'll have a more robust immune system and they can survive these things. No, nothing. Nothing.
Nope.
No,
almost the opposite. I would say junk food's more prevalent than ever and pushing, that whole. I mean, fucking Lucky Charms, right?
Yeah, the Lucky Charms thing. It might be time to mask up at award show. It might be time to stop your fucking award shows. How about that? Nobody likes them. You guys like them. We don't even like them. We watch them because there's nothing else on. The kind of people that really like award shows, they wish they were there. I wish I was getting that award.
I don't think, do they even televise them anymore? I don't even see them anymore.
I mean, they televise the Oscars.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember when that was like a big thing. Like you sit around and watch the Oscars. Like I don't think I even heard the last time there was an Oscars.
Yeah, you heard when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock.
I did see that.
That's it.
Yeah, I did see that.
That was the last fucking dying breath of the Oscars, I think.
Yeah.
It can't be just
interesting.
About that stuff. A mask. They don't work. That's the other thing. It's the other thing Lena Wen said, that cloth masks are essentially facial coverings.